Greetings. I'm Greg Mays, the founder and executive director of Harlem Presents. We're a Harlem-based and focused nonprofit with a mission of providing free cultural entertainment for the village of Harlem. One of our signature programs is the Harlem Opera Festival, a multi-night festival that provides a large public stage for emerging opera singers, primarily of color. That festival usually takes place in July in Harlem's historic Marcus Garvey Park and features, in alternating years, the winners of the annual vocal competitions of the Harlem Opera Theater and Opera Ebony. Each of those vocal competitions presents classical singers ages 23 to 35. When the pandemic hit New York City in the spring, our initial hope was that we'd still be able to present the festival in July. When the pandemic lingered, we then thought we'd simply have to delay the festival until late summer. When those hopes were dashed, we hoped to present the festival as late as the fall. Unfortunately, the parks never reopened to large groups, so we were forced to abandon the traditional presentation of the Harlem Opera Festival. At that point, necessity once again became the mother of invention. We began a conversation with the Harlem Opera Theater, this year's artistic partner, that ended with the decision to present a live stream of their annual vocal competition. They too had their programming interrupted by the pandemic. 2 weekends ago witnessed the close to the public semi-final round of the vocal competition, conducted via Zoom. This afternoon, all of the competition's finalists have assembled here at the spectacularly renovated Harlem School of the Arts and will sing for judges, also here with us, whom you'll meet later. It would be remiss of me to not mention the funders who have made this live stream possible. They include the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone, the Lower Manhattan Cultural Council, the New York State Council on the Arts, the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, and the West Harlem Development Corporation. Please, enjoy these wonderful young singers and watch their careers as they continue to bloom. Thank you for joining.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. Those of you live streaming this program, thank you for being here. Thank you to everyone who is in this room right now. It's a little bit different this year. We're doing things a little bit differently. It's 2020. This is the way of the world right now. I promise you, I am smiling under this mask. I've got a big smile. This is something I look forward to. Since I was here last year, so this was something I was looking forward to this year, and I'm sure all of our contestants are also looking forward to it and have been looking forward to it. A quick round of thank yous, first to the Harlem Opera Theater for having me yet again as your hostess for this afternoon. My name is Naomi Yane. We're going to have a great show. We've got a great show planned out for you, so sit back and relax. So again, thank you to the Harlem Opera Theater for having me this year in this beautiful space, really, at the Herb Alpert Center. Beautiful space, and we hope you enjoy this show. Throughout the program, please keep in mind that you can make donations. You can also vote for your favorite contestant. You can also follow along on the program. So if you're streaming via YouTube, maybe you're streaming via the Facebook Live, you can find that information on there. So please feel free to do that, make donations, and of course, put in your votes for your favorite contestant. And of course, be sure to follow along with the program. So I promise not to ever keep you too long and with too much rambling. We're gonna go ahead and move the show right along, and we're going to bring to you to the stage our first contestant of the afternoon, Carlene Waugh. She's a soprano, and we will bring her up right now.
and today I'll be singing Mi chiamano Mimi from Puccini's La Boheme.
Nome
saprei narrare, sono sua vicina che la vien fuori d'ora importunare.
Thank you very much, Carlene. The judges would love to hear your rendition of Guide My Feet, arranged by Jacqueline Hairston.
Absolutely. Here is Guide My Feet. Guide my feet, Lord, while I run this race. Guide my feet, Lord, while I run this race. Guide my feet, Lord, while I run this race. For I don't run this race in vain. Hold my hand, Lord, while I run this race. Hold my hand, Lord, while I run this race. Stand by me, Lord, while I run this race. Stand by me, Lord, while I run this race. Stand by me, run this race, for I died to run this race in Oh, my Lord, while I run this race, I don't want to run this race in
Thank you very much, Ms. Waugh.
Thank you.
Shall I? Carlene, stay with us for a second. Yeah, stay with us. We're going to chat. Can we get you a mic? Let's get her a mic. You can hear me okay from here, right?
Yes.
We're going to keep it safe. We're going to chat for 2 seconds while the judges deliberate and chit-chat amongst themselves. Your voice has been described as powerful, and that was powerful indeed. My goodness, over here with chills. Now, as I was reading your bio, it says, you know, you're of Jamaican descent. And one of the goals of the Harlem Opera Theater is to give opportunities and showcase opera in places where we don't normally see it, let's say. Now, I'm Congolese from Central Africa, and like a lot of, African families and Caribbean families, we're not really pushed towards the arts, let's say. A lot of times it's, be doctors, be lawyers, and that's usually the case. How did you, or when were you exposed to opera, and how did you know that this was something you wanted to pursue?
Well, growing up in Jamaica, I really enjoyed music. I went to St. Catherine High School. I sang in choirs and stuff like that. And I found that I just really enjoyed music, but I enjoyed singing, but I enjoyed the outlet that it provided for communication through, to a wider audience. So I decided, I started studying a little bit later, but I decided, this is what I wanted to do.
And what did that look like in support from your family, from your peers?
Well, in Jamaica, everybody hears about, Bob Marley, reggae music, all of that. But I decided to do classical music, which we have some wonderful classical musicians coming out of Jamaica, but it's still not very completely popular, right? So it was different. Let's just say that. It was a little bit different.
Right.
But, I feel like I was guided, I had wonderful teachers who encouraged me. And yeah, with the help, it takes a village, basically.
Absolutely.
So with the help of all my teachers and everyone, I was able to come here and study.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having us. Good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
For chatting with me. I'll let you go now as we move the show along.
Thank you.
All right. Excellent. So I always promise that I won't talk too long because I'm a talker, I'm a journalist, this is what we do. So I can get long-winded sometimes, but I promise I will not do that today. I promise to keep this show rolling so we can stay on time. We've got our next performer coming up to the stage. We've got Joanne Evans, who is a mezzo-soprano.
The first piece we'll be performing for you is Il Padre Adorato from Mozart's Idomeneo.
Riconosco e a mie tenere accenti non me ne s'invoda.
Awesome. So we're going to chat for a second. You'll tell me a little bit about yourself. And I always want to know, I find, classical music, it's not, I'm seeing that more young people are into it and interested in wanting to sing and be, involved in this genre of music. And I always want to know, what was your first exposure?
Great question. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I remember the first transformative experience of seeing two young people sing this thing that I thought was for old white-haired people that I would never be interested in. I saw this production of The Tempest screened at the Met in the cinema, and more than being about the music for me, it's always about this superhuman feat that this sound can come out of a person's face and be that loud. That's always why I come back to it.
So how did you know that sound could come out of your face?
I didn't and I don't, but I'm working on it. I had a lot of singing lessons. I'm still having a lot of singing lessons. I sang a lot of pop as a child, a lot of Spice Girls, a lot of Stevie Wonder, and here we are over a process of many, many years.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, Miss Evans. The judges would like to hear your other aria from Marta.
Okay, the next piece we're going to perform is Nimmermehr wird mein Herze from Flotov's Marta.
Die
Thank you very much, Ms. Evans. We're very fortunate enough to have in this program the second offering from an African-American female composer, and we want to hear it.
Okay, great. It's my pleasure to present this final song, which is Out of the South Blew a Wind by Florence Price. Out of the south blew a soft, sweet wind. And on its breath was a song of fields and flowers and leafy bowers and bees that hummed all day long. Out of the south came a soft, low wind. On its wings was the charm of a dream, and it hovered so near, I was sure I could hear the call of the woodland and stream. Out of the south came a soft, sweet wind, and on its breath was a
Yet again, we'll get a mic up here for you. Tell us a little bit about your final selection and why you chose that piece.
Yeah, this year has been, I think, the start of an even larger conversation for a lot of us who were, definitely myself, ignorant of so many accomplished black composers and composers of color. I'm lucky to be studying somewhere where there's a bit of an expert of Florence Price's music. So I went to them and they helped me with this beautiful piece. And hopefully it's the start of a lot of my learning of Florence Price's music. I think it's so unusual, so ahead of its time.
Excellent, and that brings up the conversation about representation and seeing that more. And you know, what moved you? What moves you about it?
I think I'm drawn immediately to any composer that is a woman, which is why I went straight for Florence Price. I'm moved by her music especially because it's so varied. She doesn't have one set style. If I sung another song of hers, you could think it was by a different composer. And I think that speaks to just how brilliant she was and how much breadth there was in her talent and her writing.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll take your mic. We'll move the show right along. And for our viewers who are streaming this from home, be sure to, share the link with folks. It's a perfect day to stay in and watch an awesome show. We've got some very talented folks lined up today. So be sure to be sure to share, be sure to invite your friends to watch from their homes safely. As we are doing it here today, we are also here being safe. This is the way of the world right now. We're going to go ahead and move the show right along. Coming up next to the stage, Joshua Conyers, and he is a baritone. So as we wait for Joshua to make his way up here, get excited. Awesome.
Well, begin with Si può, signore, signori, from Pagliacci by Leoncavallo.
Si può, si può, signore, signori, scusatemi se dal sol mi presento, io sono il prologo, poiché in scena ancor le antiche maschere mette l'attore, in parte vuoi riprendere la vecchia usanze e a voi di nuovo inviami. Ma non per dirvi come pria, le lacrime che in noi versiam son false, dei spasimi e dei nostri martir non allarmatevi. No, l'autore ha cercato invece pingervi uno squarcio di vita, e vi ha per massima sol che l'artista è un uomo, e che per gli uomini scriverei deve, ed al vero ispiravasi. In fondo all'anima cantava un giorno, ed ei con vere lacrime scrisse ei singhioti, il tempo gli battevano. Dunque vedrete amar, siccome s'amano gli esseri umani, vedrete miei svoleto. Andiam, incominciate.
Very nice. Stay chat for a while. We'll get a mic up here for you. I don't know what about everyone else. I mean, the folks who are streaming from home, your expressions, you can probably show them because you're safely in your home. We're here. We have to wear masks. So I'm just gonna tell you guys, like, there's a lot of excitement on my face. So just so you know. Now, I'm reading your bio, and you've got a long list of credits. You know, you've had a really nice career so far, and it's been great, I'm sure. What has been your favorite role, let's say, and why?
Ooh.
If you can pick.
All right. Yeah, actually had this conversation a short while ago, and I think it would have to be Falstaff, from Verdi's Falstaff. It's his last show, and I think he just put a wonderful, like, period on his wonderful career as a composer. And it's the role itself. It's not about so much the voice. He really wanted an actor singer, and it stretches me to just go beyond my voice. I get to play around. I get to play this big, over the top knight who's very sloppy, very, very mean and rude, and he has a lot of fun. So it's a lot of fun on stage. It's a long night. It's a hard night, but yeah, that definitely has to be my favorite.
How do you prepare for that when it's a night like that?
Well, first you have to you learn how to pace yourself. We try, when the emotions are going, like we're given, and you have to realize, you have to, tell yourself that, pace yourself. It's a long night. You don't have to go 100% all night for 3 hours long, and use your other things. Use your nuance. Use your acting. Use your face. Use your body to give all the emotions. And so, you start to, as you do it more and more, you start to learn those things. And luckily, I've had a lot of wonderful teachers who helped me along the way to accomplish those goals.
Excellent. If there is, maybe you played it already, is there a role of a lifetime, a goal, something that you're looking to hit, before you something that you would use to put the period on your career?
Ooh, goodness. Well, I would love to do Aida. Amanazaro would be amazing. Rigoletto would be another. And I love Puccini, just like as a listener. So anything like that, Bohème, all of those things. And one of my all-time favorite is Porgy and Bess, too. So if I ever get a chance to, I got to be in the chorus and covered a couple times, but ever get a chance to sing Porgy, I would love to do that, yeah.
Judges?
Thank you, Naomi and Joshua. We would like to hear both of your selections. Please choose the order that you would love to sing them in. And a question from me. How many times have you heard "You're a tenor"?
I think this is the second time I've heard that. But, I would love to be a tenor. But it's just, that's not my path, I don't think. But you never know, right? I'm young, 32, so you never know what the voice does. It's all about full of surprises. So, yeah, if I become a tenor, hey, sign me up for that Wagner, okay? Sign me up.
So the judges have selected that I do both pieces, and I would like to begin with Sois Immobile by Rossini from Guy Motel. Last but not least, the judges have selected Witness by Hal Johnson.
O Lord, what manner of man is this? All nations in him are blessed. All things are done by his will. He spoke to the sea and the sea stood still. Now ain't that a witness for my Lord? Ain't that a witness for my Lord? Ain't that a witness for my Lord? Saul is a witness for my Lord. Now there was a man of the Pharisees. His name was Nicodemus and he didn't believe. The same came to Christ by night, wanted to be taught out of human sight. Nicodemus was a man desired to know how a man can be born when he is old. Christ told Nicodemus as a friend, man, you must be born again. Said, marvel not, man, if you want to be wise. Repent, believe, and be baptized. Then you'll be a witness for my Lord. You'll be a witness for my Lord. You'll be a witness for my Lord. Saul is a witness for my Lord. Now you read about Samson from his birth, strongest man that ever lived on earth. Way back yonder in ancient times, he killed 10,000 of the Philistines. Then old Samson went wandering about. Samson's strength was never found out, till his wife sat upon his knee. She said, tell me where your strength lies, if you please. Now Samson's wife, she talked so fair. Samson said, cut off my hair. Shave my head just as clean as your hand, and my strength will come like a natural man. Samson was a witness for my Lord. Samson was a witness for my Lord. Samson was a witness for my Lord. Saul is a witness for my Lord. There's another witness. Now there's another witness. There's another witness. My soul is a witness for my Lord. My soul is a witness for my Lord.
Thank you so much. So just a quick round of applause from where you are while you're watching and listening. Kyle Walker is our accompanist today, so let's give him a quick hand clap there. If you're watching along from wherever you are, you can give him a hand clap. And just some reminders, if you're streaming this via YouTube, if you're streaming this via Facebook on Harlem Presents, keep in mind that there is information to make donations. There are also links so that you can vote, because there is an audience choice vote coming up. So you want to make sure that you vote for your favorite performance. So you have that option on there. You can also continue to follow along with the program. And of course, be sure to share with your friends and family, and let them know we've got this wonderful show going on here uptown, and they can follow along and watch with us as we continue on. So we're going to go ahead and move this right along. Next up, we've got Adia Evans, who is a soprano.
My name is Adia Evans, and I will begin with I Am Moses the Liberator by Dr. Nkiru Okoye from the opera Harriet Tubman. What's it gonna be? No! Dead Negroes say no tears. Keep on going. Keep on going. Keep on going. If you're tired, keep on going. And if you're scared, keep on going. If you're hungry, keep on going. If you wanna taste freedom, keep on going. Set your mind to freedom and the promised land. We shall be free, just like in the scriptures. Free indeed, we shall be free. We'll be free, free, free. I want to be free. We shall.
Nice. I wish I could do that. I can't do that. I wish I could. We've got the mic coming up. We're going to talk to you now. We know you are an amazing singer. Now, the thing that stood out to me is what you do when you're not on stage, actually. So maybe the two have merged. I don't know. You tell me. So the question is, how, if at all possible, has your craft merged with your activism? So I understand you know social justice is important to you.
That's a great question. I come from Baltimore, Maryland, and I have two artists for parents who, one is a visual artist and one is a dancer. And along with being amazing craftsmen and artists in their own right, they gave back to their city where they came from. They really instilled in me a value for education and for giving back to your community. And so that was something that always was merged together in my mind, that was a possibility to be an artist and someone who gives back and is a part of community service. And so that's always been intermingled in my own personal life, and that's something that I want to mingle in my professional life as well.
Excellent. So times are a little different these days. It's a pandemic. It is what it is. We're gonna say it, call it what it is. How has that affected you, if at all? Being able to do your craft and use your talent.
It's difficult. It's difficult not to be on stage. I wouldn't say it's easy to take for granted, but it is something that collaboration and being around so many people is something that is a part of our craft. It's intrinsic in what we do. And I miss hearing other people sing. I miss being a part of ensembles and making connections with other people. As you said, a part of the community service is working with people. And so I've seen a lot less people than I have this particular year. And so it's pretty sad, but I'm glad to see opportunities like this happening. This is amazing. I was so excited to have an opportunity, especially at the end of the year, to wrap it up with some live music.
Excellent. What are our judges saying?
Well, Adia, the judges would like to know your age.
I'm 26 years old.
26. Well, when I was singing, they always said, if you don't want to sing Mozart, don't put it in your program because
That's right.
the judges will inevitably ask for Mozart. So we're going to do them one up because we want to hear both pieces. So please choose in which order you would like to sing them.
Excellent. Well, to begin with, I would like to perform Mozart. I will be singing Come Scoglio from Così fan tutte by Mozart. And the second piece I'll perform is Soliloquy by John Work.
Finally, it will be Soliloquy by John Work.
If death be only half as sweet as love,
Thank you so much. 26. It's an amazing voice. And thanks again, Kyle Walker. You are doing an amazing job. He is our pianist for the afternoon, and I'm just blown away. You are just keeping up with the folks here. You are doing an amazing job, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone tuning in via live stream, whether you're watching through YouTube, whether you're watching through Facebook Live. Be sure to share with your friends and tell them to tune in and watch. We've got an amazing program for you today, so be sure to share that with folks. And also, you can vote for your favorite performer today. So be sure, because there is an Audience's Choice Award that will go out. So be sure to vote for your favorite today. Alongside, we'll also get our judges who will choose their the competition winner for today. So we're going to go ahead and move the show right along. Next up to the stage, we've got Christine Jobson, who is a soprano.
My name is Christine Jobson, and I'd like to start with He's Got the Whole World in His Hands, arranged by Margaret Bonds.
He's got the whole world in his hand. 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 He's got the woods and the waters in his hand. He's got the woods and the waters in his hand. He's got the sun and the moon right in his hand. He's got the whole world in his hand. He's got the birds and the bees right in his hand. He's got the birds and the bees right in his hand. He's got the beasts of the field right in his hand. He's got the whole world in his hand. He's got you and me right in his hand. He's got you and me right in his hand. He's got everybody in his hand. He's got the whole in his hand. He's got the
That's such a beautiful reminder for us this 2020. There's been so much loss and devastation and sadness, and that's a gentle reminder that he's got the whole world in his hands. Thank you so much for your selection. A little birdie told me you went to Oakwood.
Yes.
I've got a little birdie watching you now, Dominic McKenzie, who is an old chum of yours from school. and he's tuning in. So be sure again to like, be sure to share, be sure to invite your friends, and of course vote for your favorite performer today. That is an option you have because there is an Audience Choice Award that goes out. So talk to me a little bit about, as I read your bio, and the thing that stood out to me is that there is an importance for you to preserve and publicize African American vocal artists and music. Talk to me a little about the importance of that for you.
Absolutely. One thing that I'm very, very passionate about is representation. And I feel that to this point, Black people, Black singers, Black composers, we haven't been rightfully represented in the world of classical music. And so I do everything that I can to bring our music to the forefront. I try to perform it as much as possible. I've dedicated my research to it because I just think it's so important for young and old, everyone around the world, to experience all different kinds of music and not just one side, one viewpoint of what classical music is.
So you're talking about representation, and in classical music, you know, it's not a space where we've seen representation with, you know, Black people or people of color. And talk to me a little bit about some of the maybe experiences you've had traveling. You know, have you ever experienced racism? Have you ever experienced, you know, people treating you less than?
That's a heavy question. You know, I think I'll talk about the feeling of always being the only one. That happens a lot. You walk into a space and the first thing you notice is that you are the only person of color who's in the room. So that alone can bring some anxiety. You may begin to wonder, what do people think of me? What do people think of my hair? What do people think of my skin color? What do people think about the style of clothes I wear? So many different variables that we think about as young people anyway, but just adding that extra layer of color and of race and of gender even, it can be a little intimidating sometimes. Even in the realm of academia, you may start to put extra pressure on yourself to perform at a very high level because you feel like you're representing your race. You feel like any mistake that you make is a reflection of all Black people, which we know is not true, but sometimes you can start to put that on yourselves. And even as simple as being asked to speak on behalf of Black people in a class, well, I'm just one Black person. My perspective may not be the perspective of all Black people, but sometimes I am put in the position to kind of give the Black opinion, which can be a little frustrating at times.
Awesome. I want to go on, but I'm going to check with our esteemed judges first. Mr. Gregory Hopkins, would you like to hear another selection?
Thank you, Naomi. And thank you, Christine. We heard that you went to Oakwood,
Yes.
and we have to put a commercial out there because one of our past winners, Brandy Sutton, was another Oakwood graduate. There must be something in the water there.
Yes, Brandy's amazing.
So we would like to hear all of your numbers. Please choose the order that you would like to sing them in.
All right.
Bel sogno di Doretta from La Rondine by Puccini. Aujourd'hui, I'll sing Depuis le jour from Louise by Charpentier.
Suis damnée
Thank you, Christine. I just want to point out as we stand in these hallowed halls of the Harlem School of the Arts, which was founded by Dorothy Maynor, that was her signature aria. She sung it everywhere she went when she had an opportunity. So you pay homage to her lineage. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome, as promised. Like I said, you've got an amazing show lined up for you. Be sure to share, be sure to tell a friend to tune in, and also to vote for your favorite entertainer, your favorite performer this evening. Right now, we've got a word from the Harlem Opera Theater's board president, Ms. Edwina Myers-Lynch.
Greetings. On behalf of the Board of Directors, thank you for joining us for this, the 9th Harlem Opera Theater Classical Voice Competition. Done this year in partnership with Harlem Presents. The pandemic has made this a challenging year. However, Harlem Opera Theater has had to raise its bar in order to meet that challenge. Thus, this year, we're coming to you virtually. Now, there is an upside to this, although different. There is an upside, and the upside is that we hope all of our regulars are on board, but also we hope that this creates an opportunity for new folk to join us and to learn about Harlem Opera Theater and what it does. The mission of Harlem Opera Theater is to provide performance venues and opportunities for emerging and talented operatic singers to perform. The life journey of an operatic singer is long and difficult. Performance is what is needed in order to hone their skills. Competitions are special. Artists get an opportunity to perform before professional judges, and they're judged in their work. They also get an opportunity at Harlem Opera Theater to be judged by you. They get a chance also to meet other artists and to learn from each other. And finally, in this process, there is a financial reward. To help us continue our work, we definitely need your help and support on an ongoing basis. To donate to Harlem Opera Theater, there are several ways. One is through Eventbrite. The other is through our website, harlemoperatheater.org. And the third is to send it directly to Professor Gregory Hopkins at Convent Avenue Baptist Church, 425 West 144th Street, New York City, 131. Any of those ways is fine. Now remember also, please vote for your favorite contestant tonight. You're in this process also. In addition, I need to thank a number of people who really made this happen. First, Gregory Hopkins, Artistic Director of Harlem Opera Theater. Brilliant man, real genius, musical genius, and other things. Gregory Mays, founder of Harlem Presents. Nadal Benjamin, I call him a Zoom aficionado. He really worked so hard with us to make this happen. And Carol Brown. I maintain there are two Carols because she's everywhere doing everything all the time. But she's really the glue that holds this together, the fabric that weaves us all together and makes it all so pretty and nice. Thank you.
So much for staying with us, and thank you for joining us today. If you're maybe just now tuning in, we hope you are going to stay to the end of the show and enjoy some of the wonderful entertainers we've got lined up for the rest of this program. We're going to go ahead and move the show right along and bring up our next performer, Shanae Curtis. She is a soprano.
Hello, my name is Shanae Curtis, and this evening I'd like to start with Je suis encore from Manon by Massenet.
Je suis encore tout étourdi. Je suis encore tout engourdi. Excusez-moi, excusez à mon je suis encore tout étourdi. Pour tous mes amours partage, j'en suis à mon premier voyage. Le proche s'éloignait à peine que j'admirais de tous mes yeux. Mais amour migrant la plaine. Les voyageurs, je ne sais plus. Oh, excusez-moi, c'est mon premier voyage. J'aurais gardé fuir, curieuse, les arbres frissonnant au vent. Et j'oubliais toute joyeuse que je partais pour le couvent, pour le couvent, pour le couvent. Couvent les choses nouvelles. Ne riez pas si je vous dis que je croyais avoir les me voulait
nicely done, nicely done. You've got a long list of I mean, just credits on credits on credits. And I feel like you know which one I'm going to ask you about. Maybe not. It says here you performed at Buckingham Palace.
Oh, yes.
Tell me a little bit about your experience at Buckingham Palace and how did that come about and what did you feel like? Tell me about it.
It was amazing. I performed there when I went to the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama in Wales, which is in the UK, just south of like London. And I went there for a gala that Prince William threw for us for a fundraiser. And it was slightly unexpected. I didn't know that we were going to go probably until a couple weeks before the event. And I ended up singing Strauss, Morgan, with orchestra. And it was a really beautiful night. And he was so, so nice and so encouraging and really loves young singers and really loves just music in general. And it was really great to be a part of that night, which spearheaded a scholarship fund, which I was a recipient of, and many other people got to receive that award and go on to go to school and pay for many, many things after that. I mean, it was a great experience. It was really wonderful. And it's nothing like walking in for the first time. I think when I like walked in and the famous sort of velvet red carpets that line all the hallways, I think I thought I was in a storybook or something. So it was really, really interesting doing that. But I'm grateful that I got the opportunity.
That's excellent. So of your list of credits, what has been maybe one of your favorite roles or one of your favorite pieces to perform?
Favorite? I think a favorite experience more so than just the singing aspect of it. It's hard to pick one so far, but Buckingham Palace is pretty great. The Met was awesome. I think Met Porgy, I mean, it was just such a historical production to be a part of, and so many amazing artists. I mean, I think I'll never forget singing my first line, and Denise Grace was standing right there. And I just remember, like, the first time I sang it, I was like, oh my God. But it was really amazing doing that, and I think after that, production-wise, I really loved singing Alice Ford in Falstaff. I enjoyed that. Calorizzi conducted that when I was in Wales, and I just think Alice Ford is such a linchpin and just so much fun to do on stage. And up till then, I had done a lot of somber characters, so it was really fun to bring out like my fun side. So if I could do a role again, I'd love to do that somewhere else. But many wonderful experiences. I think I've been really blessed so far.
Awesome. We'll check in with our judges and see what they'd like to hear. Mr. Hopkins?
Well, our greedy judges would like to hear everything.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I am so glad I am not a judge tonight because I don't even know where I would start. Everyone sounds amazing. So thank you again. If you are tuning in via live stream, we are streaming on YouTube. We're also streaming on Facebook. So be sure to share if you're watching along and invite other people to watch along with you. We're gonna go ahead and move the show right along. I always promise that I'm not going to be a long talker up here, and I hope I've kept my word for the evening. We will go ahead, let me just get my notes here and see where we are in our program. We are calling up Mr. Ron Dukes next. He is our next performer. He is a bass, and he will be joining us on stage now.
Hello everyone, my name is Ron Dukes, and I would like to begin with Il Lacerato Spirito from Verdi's Simon Boccanegra.
Very nice. Thank you so much. Stay chat for a while. We'll get you a microphone.
Thank you. Check. Hello.
There you go. Microphone check. There you go. So I'm always curious to know, how people got their start, what inspired them. These are, some of the other contestants spoke about representation in this field, in this genre. And as a young black man, what inspired you to become a classical singer?
I was a football player prior to being a classical musician. It's a little safer, fewer concussions. In high school, of course, I needed a fine arts credit to graduate, and so I enrolled in choir, and I sang a few notes, and the voice teacher said, go stand over here with the basses, and so I did that. And so at the end of that year, I was offered a scholarship to study voice lessons during the following summer. And that was my first exposure to classical music. I didn't know, what a voice major even was, if you could even have a career in singing. And I really fell in love with the art form, and I really have been doing it ever since.
So now that you're part of this world, now that this is part of who you are, what's your goal? Is there a dream role that you have your eye on someday that what is the thing that you would say #goals to?
Well, I think any opportunity I get to sing and be paid is a wonderful thing.
Come on.
As far as dream role, I've always wanted to sing Ramfis and Aida. I love that piece. That role is really nice. I just got done singing a role that I've always wanted to do at IU Jacobs School of Music. I just got done singing Basilio in their production of Il Barbiere. So that was a really fun role. I wanted to do that role in particular because it's been, that role is a bit of a stretch for me technically, and so it allowed me to grow and explore a repertoire that I haven't really dove into in much depth quite yet. So I was really thankful for that opportunity, and to make music during the pandemic was a really nice thing as well. So,
as you mentioned the pandemic, I talked with some of the other contestants who'd said, they missed being, part of shows and singing with other people and hearing other people sing. What's the experience been like for you?
It's just made me even more aware of the fact that collaborative music, making music with another breathing, living human being is a real gift that I took for granted, and that I'm finding, I'm trying to extract every ounce of pleasure from it that I can whenever I get to do it nowadays. And so I'm very thankful for this opportunity and for this organization for putting this together. Just very grateful for it.
Awesome. We're going to check in with our judges, see what they'd like to hear.
I'm surprised that you didn't mention Zarastro as one of your...
Oh, yes. Yeah, I did that recently as well.
The judges would like to hear compensation, please.
I will sing Compensation by Charles.
Because I had loved so
Excellent. Again, some gentle reminders for all of our friends who are live streaming this via YouTube or maybe through Facebook, and you're sharing and you're voting for your favorite contestant of the evening as we roll our show on here at the Harlem School of the Arts at the Herb Alpert Center. Be sure to, if you can, donate. If you can, vote for your favorite performer and continue to follow along with our program for this afternoon. And of course, share and like and tell all your friends to come and tune in. We're going to go right along here and bring up our next performer, Ariana Rodriguez, and she is a soprano.
Good afternoon. My name is Ariana Rodriguez, and today afternoon I would like to start with Senza Mamma from Puccini's Suor Angelica. I would love a chance to do that last phrase again, if that's okay. I don't have any water down here, but I'll be okay. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Sorry about that. It's a little dry. Thank you. Where would you like me to start from? Can we just go from Harlem?
We've got a mic coming up for you. You'll stay, you'll chat for a bit. So I understand you accidentally discovered classical music. Tell me a little bit about that.
I was in choir, but I got into musical theater, and I was like, oh my gosh, musical theater is my life. It was not. I was not very good at it, so my voice teacher was like, well, maybe you should try like classical music or jazz, and I would refuse to sing classical music. She was like, don't you want this nice little Italian art song? And I said, no, I don't. So I applied to George Mason with the intention of switching over to the vocal jazz program, but there I met my teacher, Professor Samuel Bonds at George Mason, and he was like, you're doing classical music now. And I was still resistant, but I had some friends who introduced me to some amazing artists, and I discovered like all of the soprano repertoire, and I realized that it's like the same, except you get to sing everything except like without dialogue in comparison to musical theater. Yeah.
So tell me, so you found something in the genre that kept you?
Yeah.
You found something that kept you. What about it moved you and kept you?
I think I just really love the music, and I love the stories, and I love the fact that like the voice continues the expression of the entire piece. Like you have recit, and then you have arias, and you have choruses and duets, and it's just like constant singing all the time. And I don't know, just like getting to do that all the time with other people means a lot to me personally. Like I just really enjoy that aspect of music, which makes quarantine super hard.
And that was going to be my next question. You had an opportunity here today to see other performers, and I mean, what has this experience been like for you, 2020? Who isn't, someone who collaborates with others. What has this been like for you?
Well, being here has been great. I was talking to my mom before I left, and I was like, I can't wait to see live music. I'm so excited. So it's just been really nice to hear so many amazing artists throughout the night, and to just be here and share this stage with them. So yeah, that's been really exciting.
Awesome. I'm going to check in with the judges and see what they're saying.
Okay.
Very unusual request for you. We would like to hear the recit of the Mozart, and then to the second half. And then the second half, the fast section.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
Salmon Long.
Yeah. I will be singing selections of Dove Sono.
And we want to hear the spiritual also.
And then the spiritual.
E Susanna non vien. son ridotta da un consorte crudele, che dopo avermi commesso inaudito d'infedeltà, di gelosia, di stegni,
Yeah. Thank you.
se almen la mia costanza nell'anguire a modo ognor mi portase una speranza di cangiare ingrato cor, di cangiare ingrato cor. Se almen la mia costanza
Thank you so much. I've got to tell you, our judges they've got some work to do tonight. They have got some work to, and they look really cool with their masks on as I'm watching them off camera there deliberating. Very cool. We've got one more contestant for this evening's competition. But before I move forward, just a quick thank you again to Kyle Walker, who was our accompanist this evening. He accompanied most of this evening's performers, so a quick hand round for him, just from our folks right here. And if you're watching at home, you can clap for him from home also, that's fine. Coming up next, we've got Markle Reed. He's a baritone, and his accompanist will be Walker Jackson.
Good evening, I'm Markel Reed, and I will begin with Per me giunto from Don Carlo by Verdi.
Son io, mio Carlo, uscir today da questo orrendo aver. Felice ancora io son se abbracciarti possio, io ti sarai. Convien qui dirci addio. O mio Carlo, per me giunto io chi sono.
going to get a microphone for you up here.
Everything.
Okay.
I'm loving the judges right now. The judges are giving me everything. Because it just gives us more time to enjoy all of your voices just a little bit longer. So it really is, quite the treat. Talk to us a little bit about when you were exposed to classical music and what made you choose that path.
Certainly. So I was exposed to classical music in high school. Originally, I planned on going the route of engineering. The last semester of high school, I had a music and drama teacher who had been encouraging me throughout high school. I had the same one, and she gave me an art song in Italian and told me that I should just learn it, just in case. And some things went awry when it came to like science, and I realized like I don't really want to do this. And so I took that piece of music called Se ben crudele, and I started auditioning with it at a local school as well as at Oakwood College, now Oakwood University. And I got in, and I decided that I was going to go for music education, which is a wonderful, I wanted to teach. And once I got there, I worked with my teacher, and they encouraged me actually to adjust from specifically education to performance, because I could do the same things with the degree that I wanted to do. So that was my exposure to classical music, and I learned about opera once I got to college.
So talk to me a little bit about what, how it moves you and what that looks like for you.
So music, in its expression, I think it's all about intention. You can learn the notes on the page. You can learn, if you're a vocalist, you can learn how to shape the vowels, how to make sure everything flows the way it's supposed to. But if there's no meaning behind it, if there's no heart behind it, it kind of falls flat, in my opinion. I'm all about connecting with whatever's being expressed. And if I don't feel like you're actually expressing, if I don't feel like I'm expressing, then it also falls flat. So I think that's my answer to that. Yeah, it's all about intention for me.
So the judges said they want to hear everything. I'll leave you
Certainly.
to it.
Thank you. The judges have selected that I sing, everything. So I will, for my second piece, I will sing from Tannhäuser by Wagner, O du mein holder Abendstern. my last and final piece, I will sing Dream Variation by Margaret Bonds.
Fling my arms wide in some place in the sun, to whirl and to dance till the white day is done, then rest at cool evening beneath a tall tree, while night comes on gently, like me. That is my dream. To fling my arms wide in the face of the sun, dance whirl, whirl, till the quick day is done. Rest at pale evening, a tall slim tree, night coming tenderly, like me, night coming tenderly, like me.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Judges, you've got quite the job this evening. Thank you all so much for joining us. We're not done just yet. We've still got a little bit of program, a little bit of something for you this afternoon as we go into the evening here at the Harlem School of the Arts at the Herb Alpert Center. But just some gentle reminders that we do accept donations, and you'll see links to that and links for that in the description sections of the YouTube feed or on the Facebook feed. You'll see that in the description section. Again, we're accepting donations. You can also go there and get the links to to cast your vote for your favorite performer this evening. There is an audience choice vote happening, so be sure to cast your vote before the evening is done. Right now, we've got quite the treat. We've got the 2017 vocal competition winner, Karami Hilaire. She's joining me on stage this evening. We're gonna have a chat and she's going to tell me plenty of things. It's gonna be wonderful. So stay with us as I join Ms. Hilaire on stage here. Social distance, you see it, right? We're social distancing. We gotta make sure that, we stay safe, we keep you safe. We wanna make sure that, you keep the folks at home safe that you're going home to. So we're gonna keep it safe over here. And I always like to start interviews with classical performers with what made you choose this genre of music? What drew you to it? What inspired you? Maybe it was a teacher, maybe, just hearing it one day. So please.
I think for me, I grew up in a Haitian household. We listened to compa. My dad liked classical music, but we didn't really listen to it. So for me, it wasn't until I started studying jazz that at the school that I was at, we were required, studying jazz, we were required to also take classical lessons. And so I was just learning classical technique, and I had a knack for it. And so that's how I started to realize that it was very satisfying. It was satisfying in terms of the storytelling, that you could experience not only musically, but within the text that you were singing, so many shades of the human experience and so many different kinds of emotions. I just kept wanting to go there. Of course, I never stopped singing jazz, and now I'm at a point where I'm realizing you can find a lot of similarities to that in jazz, but in opera, if you're a nerd about singing, you're just gonna wanna learn the most difficult way to sing. You know, you're just gonna wanna test to the utmost of your ability.
So it's about pushing yourself a little bit for
It is about that ambition, that drive to just, how well can I do something that's very difficult.
So what's the hardest you think you've ever pushed yourself in preparation for something, let's say?
So in preparation, it's like, it's usually because someone's like, can you learn this in a few days? And then you just have to sit down and get it done. But I mean, there's so much science involved in how you use your body when you sing. I have to say, the hardest I ever worked for that, I had like a 3-day audition for the role of Lady Macbeth. And that role is just so difficult to sing. It's like mentally difficult because you know it's difficult. So you always kind of want to give up on yourself while you're doing it, but Lady Macbeth would never give up on herself.
There you go.
So you're just pushing, and then the aria's over and you can collapse somewhere backstage. But yeah, I think it was that 3-day like coaching for this role extravaganza that I had. It was just, I got the role.
There you go.
Of course, the Rona.
Well, here we are, right.
Delayed it, but.
Well, we're going to pick back up, no worries.
We'll
One day at a
pick
time,
back
we're
up.
going to pick back up. So you mentioned you're of Haitian background, and as a Congolese person, a lot of times our parents want us to be doctors and lawyers. You know, I heard classical music growing up in my home, and that was the norm for me, but you know, it wasn't that, it wasn't so much of go chase that dream of the arts or anything like that. I think, because I think I tried to be a music major. I can't sing, I don't know what I was doing. Luckily my mom was in there like, nah, this is not for you. But what was that like in your home? Were you encouraged? Did they have to come around a little bit?
Well, okay, so my dad was always like, maybe since you're in college, you'll be inspired by other things and want to do science. He never really thought that I should pursue music. But my mom really was always super supportive. She's like, you should definitely go for it, and you should also be a nurse, but never stop pursuing that as hard as you're pursuing it, but also be a nurse. So, you know, it's one of those things where she really supports it, but also wants me to be a nurse at the same time.
Are you a singing nurse?
They exist. I'm not one.
No,
yet.
okay. So you mentioned Miss Rona. You know, I feel like that's the elephant in every room. Anytime, you know, folks gather safely or not, I imagine it's topic of conversation. Just what has that experience been like for you? Has it obviously slowed your work? How has that affected you?
Well, it definitely slowed a lot of work. Also, I was in a digital opera, so it's also given me the opportunity to engage in musical experiences that aren't the norm, to connect with audiences in different ways. So that's been interesting, and I wonder how that will continue to develop.
Talk to me about that digital opera a little bit. That sounds like an interesting concept. It's something, you know, we're learning new ways of doing things. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, right now, most operas that are happening are, at least in the US, are happening in a digital way, either pre-recorded, usually pre-recorded. The opera that I was in was live. It took place from my bedroom. It was called Alice in the Pandemic. I was Alice. I was a nurse that got home from a long day of just being an emergency room nurse, and then things just start going nuts. So the whole thing took place in my room. I had a green screen in my room. I had to sing lying in my bed at one point. It was a very interesting experience.
Do your neighbors ever just hear you singing and they're just like, hey lady, keep it down?
My next door neighbors think I'm like the best singer they ever heard, so they're fine. And the people who live upstairs, you know, they're fine. They've never complained. And now they've moved. So
they're no longer
so
back
it's
there.
fine.
That's awesome. I mean, what is that? I imagine it doesn't sound the same, you know, performing it at home as it would, you know, on a stage.
So it's really different. It's really different. I mean, so the orchestra is pre-recorded. That was really different because usually in all the roles that I've sang in the past, I get so much from the orchestra. Like I hear the violins and I guess I've never attempted to articulate how a voice integrates itself with the orchestra and how important it is, how much support you get from listening to especially the string instruments. I mean, so that was definitely missing for me. It was just in my ear, pre-recorded orchestra. So there were a lot of aspects that were different that way, but and it's really hard to support the way you would normally support for hardcore singing when you're on the soft bed or when you're sitting in an office chair. So
is it harder to hit the notes maybe? Because I feel like there's a little bit of posture involved.
It's a new opera, so the composer didn't make it so that he didn't write anything that I couldn't do with the with the direction I was given. But yeah, I would say there are ways around it with technique, but yeah, it's just different. Hearing yourself in the hall creates a totally different experience than hearing yourself through a headset, you know?
Right. So you have a long list of credits. You've been performing for some time. What has been your favorite role, let's say, or your favorite song, and why?
Okay, well, I was thinking about this the other day. Okay, I really liked singing Tosca. And I think that when I sing, if I get the chance to sing Tosca again, I'll play the role a little differently. But it's just a lot of fun to play someone who is, man, she really does kill. That whole second act when she kills a man with her bare hands, I just had so much fun doing that.
Does it allow you to just kind of maybe step out of yourself, or is that type of role different than who you are?
Is she a
little bit like you?
They're all that's interesting. I don't think I had to bring exactly who I am to every single performance. So all the characters I've played are very much like me because I can't step out of my personality when I play these roles. I don't know if I would have the gumption to kill a man with my bare hands the way she did, but I just respect it. I don't I don't know. I think she had a lot of mercurialness to her personality that it was fun to lean into. So I think that was it for me. Did I answer your question?
I did.
Okay.
So is there a goal, a hashtag goals song or character or play that what is your hashtag goals part that you would like?
That's a good question because I'm in crisis with it right now. I always wanted to sing Violetta, and now I'm just sort of realizing that my voice will probably never fully do that. So I have to like reassess what my goals are. And also now that we have such a political consciousness of what a lot of these characters mean, I used to want to sing Madame Butterfly too. And now I'm like, I don't really want to sing Madame Butterfly. I used to, I mean, I hope, you know, I'm torn about Aida. I used to really want to sing Aida. I got the chance to sing it, and I was until very recently in a place where I was like, I would love to sing that again. But now I'm just like, you know, now that all of our political consciousness is expanding around these opera characters, it's just not the same anymore. Let's say maybe which character do you think affected you in that way the most, where you were just like, you know what, this was something I used to want to do, now not so much, and why? It's so interesting. I feel this way about so many characters right now. I feel this way about Donna Anna. I feel this way about Liu. Characters from Turandot. I used to want to sing Liu, then I wanted to sing Turandot. But that whole opera. Give us a little bit of background for those who, for our folks who maybe aren't familiar. It's an opera written by Puccini that takes place in what the Met Opera calls the mythical past, which is just like a racist fantasy for what, you know, Peking or wherever I can't fully remember the name of the city that they're in, what it must be like back then. You know, it's a lot of Orientalism coming right at you with that opera. And it's really uncomfortable to watch. It's really uncomfortable. And the music is really striking. So there's a dichotomy there that's uncomfortable that we all have to sit in as classical musicians, for sure. So we talked about this with some of the other contestants this evening, just talking about representation in this space, representation in classical music. Yeah. And you know, there is a very clear, you know, changing of the times. Have you ever encountered maybe racism in the field, or you know, being in spaces where you're the only black woman or the only black person in general, and that sort of thing? And how does it make you feel if you're ever in those spaces? You know, that is par for the course. I don't think any black person enters a classical conservatory and trains to the heights that we've all trained to and has not experienced some form of othering. So all those things are just like par for the course. What I'm kind of interested in now is, so this is kind of a difficulty within what we all experience as classical musicians. But I would like us to acknowledge firstly that it's this European art form, part of why it's so loved in Europe is the whiteness, right? Like that's a part of what makes it so appealing to Europeans. And that's why the Met has to, deal with these questions about diversity the way they're always asked to deal with these questions about diversity, and why so little changes is because they like the whiteness of it. So, I mean, accepting this as classical performers puts us in this position of knowingly trying to integrate a space, knowing that we have so many things of value to offer to that space that is like pretty comfortable in its anti-blackness. So I don't know if I just started tirade or if that actually answered your question, no, but those are my feelings about it. It absolutely did. Now I see our judges are done deliberating, but they'll give us just a little bit longer to chat. So we talked a little bit about, I guess, social justice topics, and
what it's like to be, filling these spaces, and what it's like growing up in a Haitian household where, you were encouraged to be a nurse, as opposed to going into the arts.
Still being encouraged to be a nurse.
You talked about but you're playing one now, right?
Right.
You're kind of playing one now, so you're kind of fulfilling the dream. Will they accept that answer? Will your parents accept that answer? Tell them I said, listen, you're kind of playing a role right now, and so you kind of got it done.
So funny. You're right.
So I'm going to continue talking about a little bit more about representation. Do you think it's changed over maybe the last 5 or 10 years? Do you feel like maybe just the conversations are happening more? Do you feel that there have been actual changes?
That is so fascinating. I'm so fascinated by that question because the world of opera seems to relent just a little bit. Like, Black people gain some ground, usually in response to huge social justice movements. And it's like this little sliver of space is made for us in the in the world where people have money and are doing productions. And it's very interesting. So I think in response to a lot of social justice movements, a lot of predominantly white institutions that put on operas are interested in being a part of the question of what do we do with, how do we handle what we're being asked to do, which is integrate our art form, which we like to be white. A lot of people are finally starting to talk about that. How much it will change, it seems to be a trend to me. There seems to be moments where people are like, yes, let's get, let's do the moral thing and get Black people on stage. But then they get Black people on stage, and then they do something like Porgy and Bess, which is written by a white person, libretto created after studying a Black community. There was no Black input in how these Black people were to be seen. Not that there's nothing wrong with Porgy and Bess. I mean, it's an amazing opera, and people who do it should be proud to do it. But there is something uncomfortable. There's something uncomfortable that we have to sit in when we perform that opera. And I would love to see less surface area adjustment and more depth to the adjustments. I'd like to see hair and makeup people that know how to deal with Black people and textured hair and dark skin. I would love to work with a Black director. I can't believe I've never worked with a Black director. Black conductors exist. All these really interesting artists have so much to offer, but these institutions that are having the conversations are hiring Black performers to perform operas where with a white person's vision for who we are. So I'm not really sure where the conversation leads, or I'm not really sure. I'm interested to see what happens, but I can't say that I'm convinced that the willingness to acknowledge and have this conversation now means that they're less in love with the idea of opera remaining as white as it is and as it always has been.
So what's next for you?
Well, good question. Because, as an artist in this time, half the time I'm like, who cares about what I'm doing? And half the time I'm like, yeah, let's work. So what's next? I mean, I'm still doing Lady Macbeth. I'm still doing Cosmic Cowboy with White Snake Opera Projects, and the Lady Macbeth will be with Knoxville Opera. It's just going to happen at some point in 2021 when more people are vaccinated and all that.
There you have it. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your time and sharing, with us this evening. And it looks like our judges are done deliberating, And I can go ahead and turn that over to Mr. Gregory Hopkins, and he will bring up and talk with us a little bit about what's going on this evening.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to invite all of our judges to the stage and all of our artists to the stage as well. While they are coming, let me first say that 2020 has been a particularly challenging year for performers and for performing arts organizations. And Harlem Opera Theater is no exception. We, like most performing arts groups, have had to alter our season, cancel performances, and reimagine the things that we're doing. So we thank you for being a part of this, our first virtual vocal competition. It's been momentous and historic. We want to thank our great audience, those of you who are tuning in on Facebook and YouTube. Without audiences, the artists would have no one to sing to or for. You're a very important part of the program. I would like to say thanks to Harlem Presents. And there's always something dangerous about anybody that is named Greg. Greg Mays, thank you. Thank you to the Harlem School of the Arts. We're standing in this beautiful edifice that has recently been remodeled and reconfigured. So it's coming to life just like we are going to come to life after the pandemic. This is one of the first events to be held in the newly refurbished Harlem School of the Arts. We would like to thank our pianist, Kyle Walker. Where are you, Kyle, for being such a great assist to these artists? And Nadal, who is our technical person. All of your gifts have come to fruition in your work with us here today. Harlem Opera Theater would be nothing without the hard work of people like Carol Brown, who work day in and day out behind the scenes. Thank you, Carol Brown. And a special salute to our board president, who is in Virginia nursing her ailing sister. We love you, Edwina, and wish you could be here. I would like to now introduce our very esteemed judges. You heard the singing, so you know they had a tremendous job. Mark Shapiro is a 6-time ASCAP Award winner. He's the music director for the Prince Edward Island Symphony and I Cantori, as well as the Cecilia Chorus, both here in New York City. Malcolm Merriweather, Grammy-nominated conductor and singer, who is the music director for the New York City Dessau Choirs. And Damian Sneed, recording artist, pianist, organist, conductor, arranger. He has performed with the likes of Aretha Franklin, Jesse Norman, Stevie Wonder. Most recently, he was the Houston Grand Opera's cover conductor and artistic artist in residence. Let's hear it for our 3 judges. And now the moment that you all have been waiting for. Drum roll. The audience choice. That's the one you chose, Adia. The judge's choice for the 3rd place, Markel. And the judge's choice for the 2nd place, Adia. And last but not least, the 1st place winner for the 2020 Harlem Opera Theater Virtual Vocal Competition, Shanae. Well, we're all smiling behind these masks. Even the ones that didn't win first, second, third, or audience choice were great. And we know that all of you are going to have tremendous careers. Keep up the great work. Remember that Harlem Opera loves you and that we're behind you every step. We're going to take you with us, and we want you to take us with you, wherever you go. God bless you all, and thank you for being a part of this glorious evening. And let's hear very capable host, Miss Naomi Young.
Il tempo